We present I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue, the antidote to panel games. At the piano is Colin Sell and your chairman is Humphrey Lyttelton.
Hello and welcome to I'm Sorry I Haven't a Clue. You join us back for a second week in York, the fine city whose name has been adapted in so many ways. There's the Yorkie, the staple diet of lorry drivers everywhere who like to snack on a small dog. The famous Yorker was developed here, the bowling technique that put this year's England cricket team where they are today. Opening a supermarket in Rotherham. And, of course, there was the grand old Duke of York, who famously had 10,000 men, the title passing down to today's Duke of York, whose ex-wife famously tried so hard to match them. York is also associated with many other notorious names from history. Dick Turpin was hanged here in 1739, after he made the journey from London in 15 hours. And there's an interesting parallel with Turpin's exploits for anyone travelling to York today on Virgin Rail. Daylight robbery in the restaurant car. Guy Fawkes was born in York. In 1606, he was hung, drawn and quartered at Tyburn and buried at Marble Arch, Cheapside, Ludgate and Wandsworth. His co-conspirators included one Humphrey Lyttelton, who was dragged in chains to Guildford and publicly executed. Imagine the shame brought upon my family. Apparently they were okay about publicly executed, but Guildford... York is a mecca for visitors seeking to soak up its wealth of cultural delights, including York Minster and the Mystery Cycle that appears chained to its railings every morning. Wandering the old streets today, many come aiming to take in the famous shambles. So let's meet the teams. On my right, Jeremy Hardy and Tim Brooke-Taylor. And on my left, Sandi, Toksvig and Graeme Garden. And no show would be complete without our lovely scorer, the ever-delightful Samantha. Okay, the first round is called Misleading Advice. Teams, I'd like your suggestions, please, of advice that might totally mislead any first-time visitors to Britain who find themselves at a railway station. And Graeme, will you start us off, please?
When leaving the train, it is traditional to leave a leaf on the line.
On any journey, you could easily come across a Mr. John Prescott, as he always travels by train. Careful, though, of the wild animals in the guard's van, as he apparently always likes to take his 2 Jaguars with him.
Sandi.
It is customary when using the gentleman's lavatory at York Station to greet fellow visitors with a friendly pat on the bottom.
Jeremy.
Before entering the toilet on the train, it is customary to remove your shoes and socks as a mark of respect.
Don't buy your own newspaper, as people on trains like to share.
Men with the notepads at the end of the platform are colourful characters with full and interesting lives.
If you would like a coffee, attract staff by pulling the large red handle in your compartment.
Gents' toilets are marked W.H. Smith. And they never run out of paper.
When you arrive, you will find that bus timetables are coordinated with the arrival of all trains.
Please discourage the professional beggars operating on trains who will approach you with the words, "Tickets, please." On a Sunday, you can travel from York to Peterborough in under 7 hours.
A virgin train means one that is brand new.
The railways are safer, cleaner and more efficient since privatisation.
Okay, well, the teams are now going to sing for us. Because it's that old favourite pick-up song. Not quite such an old favourite as Pick-Up Ear Defenders, if you ask me. This is where the teams sing along to some well-known records selected from the gramophone library. I spent a frankly unrewarding half hour down there this morning until Samantha generously offered to help me out. Strictly speaking, her contract doesn't cover research, and by asking her to have an unpaid poke amongst the record stack... I might have put her in an awkward position, but she didn't mind. In DJ mode, Samantha is now poised at the turntable and ready to give the selected discs a spin. At my signal, she'll reduce the volume to nothing, but as the record fades away, the team should continue to sing until it reappears, the object being to stay in time with the music. If on its return you're within a gnat's crotchet of the original, I'll be awarding points, and points mean prizes. Oh, all right. What do points mean? Better out than in, isn't it? This week's prize will ideally suit the keen racegoer who has a sweet tooth. It's this bag of granulated sugar. Graeme, we'll start with you. Will you please accompany Sandi Shaw singing Puppet on a String?
Puppet on a string. Love is just like a merry-go-round with all the fun of the fair. One day I'm feeling down on the ground, then I'm up in the air. Are you leading me on? Tomorrow will you be gone? I wonder if I'm
Jeremy, will you please accompany the 1970s disco band Ottawans singing their hit D-I-S-C-O?
D-I-S-C-O. She is D-I-S-C-O. She is D-I-S-C-O. She is D-I-S-C-O. Apparently, she is D-I-S-C-O.
What is she?
She is D, delirious. She is I, incontinent. She is A, superfluous. She is C, constipated. She is She is D, desirable. She is I,
It's you now, Sandi. I'd like you to accompany Manfred Mann singing Do-Wah-Diddy-Diddy.
There she was, just walking down the street, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-doo, popping her fingers and shuffling her feet, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-doo. She looked good, she looked fine, she looked good, she looked fine, and I nearly lost my mind. Before I knew it, she was walking next to me, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-doo, holding my hand just as natural as can be, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-doo.
And finally, Tim, something contemporary for you. Will you please accompany Lou Bega singing his hit Mambo No. 5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. everybody in the car. So come on, let's ride to the liquor store around the corner. The boys say they want some gin and juice, but I really don't wanna be a buzz like I had last week. I must stay deep, cause talk is cheap. I like Angela, Pamela, Sandra and Rita. And as I continue, you know they're getting sweeter. So what can I do? I really beg you, my lord. To me, floating is just like a sport. Anything fly, it's all good. Let me dump it. Please set in the trumpet. A little bit of Monica in my life. A little bit of Erica by my side. A little bit of Rita is all I need. A little bit of Tina is what I see. A little bit of Sandra, defeat in the sun. Come in, music, it's time you came in. A little bit of Jessica, here I am.
Well, the next round is sound charades, where the teams demonstrate the full range of their acting skills. So stopwatches at the ready, everyone. The game is based on the erstwhile popular TV show Give Us a Clue, where players enacted the title of a film or a book or a play without speaking and within a strict time limit. The expert's expert was, of course, Lionel Blair. Who can ever forget opposing team captain Nuno Stubbs sitting open-mouthed as he tried to pull off 12 angry men in under 2 minutes? The original charades game was both silent and hilarious. Our version differs subtly in 2 ways. Tim and Jeremy, you're going to start, please, and your title will be displayed to the audience via the laser display board. And for listeners at home, here's the mystery voice.
Wildlife on one. Wildlife on one.
Incidentally, I've got advice for those listeners who don't want to join in the fun. Keep listening. Right, you're guessing this one, Graeme and Sandi. Off you go, Tim and Jeremy.
It's 3 words, and it's a television program, and it goes like this.
What is it, Liz?
Philip. I've got a pride of lions crawling all over me.
Clear off your shaggy foreign buggers. Get off her, go on, get off.
Obviously not the royal family. Was it by any chance Wildlife on one?
No.
Okay, it's your turn, Graeme and Sandi. Your title's now being exhibited on the laser display board, and here again is the mystery voice for listeners at home.
People like us. People like us.
It's radio and television.
TV.
And it's 3 words.
3 words.
Ah, Hamish, how's your sporran hanging?
Sandi, you'll have had your tea.
Where's Dougal then?
Dougal? Oh, he's away.
No.
He's away to join the SAS.
He's away to join the elite task force.
No, the Scandinavian Airlines.
Oh!
He's working as a steward.
Are they taking folks the like of Dougal?
They're taking all kinds of folk, similar to ourselves even.
No.
Aye.
Could I join?
No.
Did you know that you and I've won the popularity contest at the Highland Games?
Never.
Aye.
The popularity contest at the Highland?
Folk are very fond of people like you and me. I've said it now.
Well, I don't think we're going to get this one.
It's the Nazis, a lesson from history, isn't it?
People like you and me. What I mean is, us?
I rather lost the thread through that one.
It was Emmerdale Farm, okay?
And so to the next round. With so many singles on the lookout for partner teams, the art of the chat-up line has taken on a renewed importance. Only the other day, our own Graeme Garden was propositioned with the line, "I think I've seen you on television. Don't you look different without the fast-forward going?" So, teams, with a supply of chat-up lines for every occasion very much in demand, I'd like you please to suggest some that might be used by fishermen. Start with you, Graeme.
Let me show you my tackle.
Could you give me a hand? I seem to have got my fly tangled.
Would you like to look at my worm? Oh, come back.
I think you should know that I've got crabs. In this bucket.
Is that a conger eel in your trousers, or are you just pleased to see me? I hope it's a conger eel because it keeps eating my sandwiches.
Ever seen a 10-foot rod?
You're quite attractive, but you should have seen the one that got away.
Get your landing net, you've pulled.
Don't worry, my dear, I've done this loads of times and I've never caught anything. I'll tickle any old trout, me. It might look like a maggot to you, but it works for me.
Do you want to see the piece of cod that passes all understanding?
Actually, yes.
OK, since we're in Yorkshire as part of the BBC's ongoing mission to break down the barriers of petty prejudice and crude regional stereotyping, I'd like to introduce a tailor-made round of Ibar Gum. If I ain't got nowt but mushy peas, reet, and me clogs and flat at, or as we Southerners call it, the general knowledge round. This week's subject is Yorkshire sayings and folklore, and I'll provide the teams with the opening lines from a selection of locally used expressions which they should attempt to complete. And Sandi, you can start. Iat knows nowt.
Runs Virgin Trains.
You're itching to know the real answer, which is doubts nout. Isn't that interesting?
That's fascinating.
Graeme, a new besom
Is expensive plastic surgery. The Guardian.
Sweeps clean is the answer. Tim, now, what is Harrogate headache?
Yorkshire birth control.
I'm told, though I've never experienced it, that it's caused by the sulphurous bad egg smells rising from Harrogate's old sulphur well or stinking spore.
That would put me off.
Jeremy, will you translate the following Yorkshire expression? Don't make a muff.
There's got to be a better way of worming that Pekingese.
Apparently it's don't make the slightest sound. Here are some for anyone to have a go at. What are Keithley K-Leggedons?
Another form of Yorkshire birth control.
Well, it says here, and I don't believe it, it's a humorous nickname for the people of Keithley referring to their bone deformations. Complete the following Yorkshire saying, it's a hard job to find anybody at'll admit they've had.
Michael Portillo.
As the audience knows very well, the answer is enough of out they like. Translate the following Yorkshire expression. Thy topping is snod, lad.
You've got phlegm on the cake.
No, it's the hair over your forehead is smooth, lad. Who or what is a cushy cow lady?
Tara Palmer Tompkinson.
Well, it's a ladybird. Okay, well, the next round will involve audience participation. The game is called Karaoke Koki, and it'll combine the musical skills needed for karaoke with the choreographic dexterity required of the hokey koki. Luckily, we have with us a hokey koki championship finalist of 1978 in the guise of Colin Sell. Colin amazed the judges with his rendition of "You put your left leg in, your right leg in," but was disqualified for reading from the instructions that came with his new trousers. Colin's going to provide the introduction to a song which will be displayed on the laser board and seen only by the audience. They should begin to sing the song a cappella. That means on your own. Until the teams buzz in to guess its title. If there's a wrong guess, the audience should pick up where they left off, and so on until we find a winner. Okay, the title of your first tune is being broadcast on the laser display board now, audience, while for listeners at home, here's the mystery voice.
On Ilklamore Bar Tat. On Ilklamore Bar Tat.
Are you there, Colin?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready, audience?
Man of Harlech.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful rendition
Very
of
good.
Ilklamore Bar Tat.
Barbie.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very lovely.
Okay, audience, here's another title for you to try. It's going up on the laser display board now. Here again is the mystery voice.
The Flight of the Bumblebee. The Flight of the Bumblebee.
Come in, Colin Sell.
Ready?
Stop, I'm getting wet.
Sandi, you buzzed.
I buzzed, but nobody heard me. There was so much other buzzing going on.
That wasn't the flight of the warthog, was it?
I don't know, but somebody's teeth landed in the orchestra pit.
There you are, Hump.
I'm not giving them any further help.
Jeremy's musical, he'll know.
It was just that the whole audience started shaving at once.
Near
Was that
enough.
Flight of the Bumblebee?
I notice it's almost time to end the show, but it's just time for the Shakespearean Ball. Samantha tells me she recently purchased a Tudor tankard bearing an engraved ode believed to be by Shakespeare himself. Next week she's taking it to be valued by the Antiques Roadshow program. We can't wait to see Hugh Scully examining her jug sonnet. Teams, I'd like you now to announce the late arrivals of the Shakespearean Ball. Graeme, will you start, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome, please, Mr. and Mrs. England and St. George, and their son, Harry England and St. George.
Oh, who's that reeling in? Oh, it's Andronicus. There's no one quite as tight as Andronicus.
Ladies Ladies and gentlemen, delighted to have Mr. and Mrs. Ingdom for a horse and their son Mike.
Mr. and Mrs. creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time, and their 3 identically named daughters, Tamara and Tamara and Tamara, creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time.
Will you welcome, please, Mr. and Mrs. Soft What Light Through Yonder Window Breaks and their son, Bert Soft. Through yonder window breaks.
A warm welcome, please, for Mr. and Mrs. The Fourth, Part 1. And their son, Derek.
Please be upstanding for Mr. and Mrs. Arnia and their big-breasted daughter. Titania. Thrilled to have with us Mr. and Mrs. Demi-Ears and their son Len.
And here come Mr. and Mrs. Cleopatra and their transvestite son, Anthony Ann Cleopatra.
And from Russia we have Mr. and Mrs. Macduff and their son Leon Macduff.
Mr. and Mrs. Summer by this son of York and their maid Gloria.
A surprise visit from Mr. and Mrs. Francis Bacon and their copyright lawyer.
From Wales, will you welcome Nye? That's Nye, the borrower, and his partner, Nora, lender B.
Please welcome Mr. Paul Yorick, accompanied by a single girl.
Well,
Mr. and Mrs. Demona and their son Des. For he's a jolly Othello.
so, ladies and gentlemen, as the rare field mouse of time cannons out of the combine harvester of destiny, and the grey squirrel of fate nibbles hungrily at the nuts of eternity, I notice it's the end of the show. So from the team, Samantha, myself, and the good folk of York, it's goodbye.
Graeme Garden, Jeremy Hardy, Sandi Toksvig and Tim Brooke-Taylor were being given silly things to do by Humphrey Lyttelton, with Colin Sell setting some of them to music. The programme consultant was Ian Pattinson and the producer was John Naismith.